All new Pacific Mornings with Will on 531 VI.
It is 20 minutes until 8 o'clock. You're listening to Pacific Mornings on 531 PI. I'm William Terite. It's great to have your company this Friday. Now let's turn our attention to the Sāmoan Citizenship Bill, which of course a few weeks ago officially passed in Parliament and has been enacted into law, creating ultimately a pathway for Samoans born between 1924 and 1948 to reclaim what they lost. Now, the bill, for a bit of context, which passed unanimously on the 20th of November, seeks to redress the impact of the Citizenship Western Samoa Act 1982, which revoked the rights of many Samoans to New Zealand citizenship. National MP Cameron Brewer was involved in the party's decision to support the Samoan Citizenship Bill and joins us live now. Very good morning to you.
Morena, William, talofa lava.
Hey, thanks so much for your time. I mean, look, now that the dust is settled and it's enacted into law, just your reaction now that it is very much into law now.
Oh, it's fantastic. And we got an update from DIA, the Department of Internal Affairs, at Select Committee in Parliament this week. And the news is out there. The news is out there. The High Commission in Apia, there was a queue forming when applications opened. So the best way to do it is go to a Department of Internal Affairs counter or get on the website govt.nz and follow your way around, and you will find all the information as to whether you, your parents, your grandparents, your aunts or uncle, your friends could be eligible. And they take you through very methodically as to eligibility, so they're not wasting anyone's time or money. And there's a call centre there, and they'll answer all the questions that people need answering. So there has been some interest. There have been some applications. There's a mailbag, we were told, that was on its way back to New Zealand, back to the Department of Internal Affairs in Wellington for assessment. There are two already that are going through the process of advancing their application. And so, it's underway. They were never going to expect a lot of applications at once. It would take a while for these things to filter through. We were told in Select Committee this year that potentially there could be nearly 3,500 Sāmoans born between those dates. As you say, you have to basically be 75 years or older that could be eligible, and so it's really exciting. This was a wrong that needed to be righted. It was something that led by the Muldoon government in 1982 that they took away for those Samoans born in that period that were not in New Zealand at the time. So citizenship was restored for those that were in New Zealand, but those that were in Samoa or elsewhere had their citizenship rights revoked. And subsequently, 42 years later, Parliament unanimously last month voted at the third reading that those rights would be restored.
Okay, and that's all well and good, and it's great in terms of, thanks for the update on that. Look, I mean, it's no secret that at first reading the National Party didn't support the bill. What do you think changed throughout the Select Committee process where National had a change of heart, from your perspective?
Well, it's something that, and it's important. I did mention Sir Robert Muldoon, but it's important to remember, William, that back in 1982, it wasn't just the National Party that only gave some their citizenship and not others. It was a decision that was unanimously supported across the New Zealand Parliament, including Bill Rowling's Labour Party and Bruce Beetham's Social Credit Party. So the 82 legislation that caused this heartache and pain was a unanimous decision across New Zealand's Parliament. I think what was fundamentally driving it was the numbers involved back then, and the fact that both countries had issues with it, because it could have seen a big exodus out of Samoa, which had big impacts on both countries. So now we got to a stage this year where we looked at it, and the bill that Tiana Tuione, our Green MP friend, and colleague put up as a private members bill initially included the pathway for descendants, and we thought, jeepers, yes, 3,500 direct applicants potentially, but then the Department of Internal Affairs said if it's opened well and truly wide, it could implicate over 100,000 Samoans, and the Samoan government domestically were silent on it. But nonetheless, we understood across the party that they did have reservations, that they were worried the impact of losing a lot of people if, in its original form, the private members bill went through. And so the National Party had reservations about the impact on the Treaty of Friendship protocols that we've got in place with and that we have had since 1962 with Samoa, and some complications around there, and the impact on both countries as far as the numbers. And so when we voted against it. But we said in that first reading that we were happy to have a look at this bill, very happy, and seeing if we could knock it into shape and make it workable for all parties and for both countries. And that is what happened. The scope of eligibility narrowed. The descendants are not eligible. And so it very much went back to the original cohort, which I think both countries were happy with. Not all Samoans are happy with that. A lot did think their right should be extended to descendants. However, we could not get that. We could not get cross-party support for that, and so in the end, we landed with the 3,500 and all potential applicants, potential eligibility, and all 6 parties in Parliament supported it. So National came over. We think we landed in a good place. We think both countries are satisfied with that. Well, we know New Zealand's satisfied with it, and we haven't heard anything different from the Samoan government. And we think it's been the right thing to do.
Fantastic. Yeah, certainly. And look, just before I let you go, just a quick brief summary. I mean, obviously, we're drawing towards the end of the year. This is the first year of the coalition government. How do you think it's going? And also recognizing that you came in as part of that 2023 Blue Nami, to put it. I mean, how have you found the year?
Oh, Blue Nami, I like that, William. We had in 2020 a red wave, so now we've got a Blue Nami. I haven't heard that. I will use that if I can. If you haven't got dibs on it, well, I'll use it in the debating chamber next week. Yes. How have I found it? Well, I've kind of been around, working in Parliament in the past. I've been an Auckland's councillor, and so I'd had some exposure to politics. But we've the National Party's brought in a great cohort of 22 new MPs. We're working well together with our coalition parties, ACT and New Zealand First. The challenges are enormous. They are enormous across the country and across all sectors, all ministries. And so we're systematically working through our election promises. But we feel that we're making some good inroads as far as reducing the cost of living, as far as lifting the education standards, improving truancy. We're having some really good wins on law and order. You know, we've got more police on the beat. We're cracking down on gangs. We're seeing ram raids reduce. We're seeing serious violent offending and the likes reducing. There's still so much more work to do there. Health is, as the Prime Minister said last weekend, is our biggest challenge, and so we've got we made a record investment there in Budget 2024, and we've got to keep investing because there's so much need in the health sector, and so we've got to get that up and running too. So the challenges are wide and deep. But the enthusiasm by our Prime Minister and the energy by the front bench, is compelling, and the public are giving us a pretty good run and saying, look, you made some promises, you've delivered on some of them. We want you to keep rolling out your program, and we will judge it on merit as to whether we're ahead in 2026 or not. And frankly, William, I think we will be. I think you'll see the economy starting to recover, interest rates falling, inflation's down from 7.2% 3 years ago to 2.2%. I think you'll see people will be feeling a little bit better next year, but it's off a very low base, and we've got a lot of work to do. So, it's a privilege to be there as the MP for Upper Harbour, and we will just keep working hard because we know there's plenty to do.
Certainly. I thank you very much for your time. That is National MP Cameron Brewer. You have a good weekend when you get to it.
Thank you so much.
You